Hello, hello, hello. Making a Play-Doh video with a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Play-Doh. Factory new from the Dollar Tree store. Awesome. I always am in love with when the new one comes right out of the package. So I'm all in orange today, including the Play-Doh. Oh, this is heaven. They smell the best. The real natural, I don't know, natural. The real original Play-Doh is the best. And it's a little bit sticking to the jar, but that's okay. So I want to talk about my observations as usual, and I want to talk about people worshiping celebrities. Okay, this is a huge problem. You don't think it's a problem, but it really is. If you look at it from a wider perspective, it's a real serious problem because it creates so many problems in the world. That's why it's such a huge problem. We need to take that very seriously. And it's not just celebrities, it's people on YouTube who became famous from scratch, like, oops, I'm famous. I don't even know why, So not me, but that's what they're probably thinking. So I have like 50 subscribers or something. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even if I had 0 subscribers, even if I had 0 views. So I have, how many views do I have on a video? Like 20. And it's been like this ever since 2006. Because it's not interesting. It's not interesting. It's not celebrity. It doesn't even have haute couture in it. Doesn't even have fashion. Not very fashionable. So then it doesn't have scandal in it. There's no scandal. There's no drama. It doesn't have sex in it too. I experimented a little bit also on the other channel. Just to see what it does. If that increase, and it promptly does. If I show myself, like I showed myself in a profile, with my chest out, so immediately get more views. Okay, then I had a photo, I just tried it. I can't be super explicit. That's not my personality. So I could never do an undressing, wardrobe changing, trying on clothes video. That's just that I would find that so embarrassing and so I don't know. I would feel so. I would. I feel like, how did I possibly get to that level or something? So it's because it's just it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any meaning other than to lure male compliments, and that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. And that's what it's made for also. So no, my videos are supposed to have some food for thought content. Yes, they do. But I experimented a little bit here and there just to see what happens if there's an increase. And it always brings an increase. I have a video on this channel here, Nikki Loves Dogs. way in the past, where I made a foot massage video outside, and where I showed myself with my male underwear. I always buy these Fruit of the Loom boxer jerseys because they're comfortable. That's why they're comfortable. And the women underwear is usually not comfortable. It's very rare that it is comfortable. And and the one that is comfortable, that's like good for like real warm climate. It's like it has to be 90 degrees to wear female underwear, because it's just so skimpy, And no, I have bladder, I tend to have bladder problems. I had bladder problems in the past a lot, and then living with Paul, who always liked it cold. He always has all windows open, like during the day and at night. That's good for oxygen, very important. But I had to readjust for that, and I had to start sewing sweaters because I have a long back. Had to start sewing sweaters that come way over my hips. And for that, I had to sew sweaters that are like 2 feet longer than the sweaters you normally buy in a store. So I had to get into sewing. I didn't really want to, but I had to get into it for the necessity. And then out of that, I did more sewing, and a sewing meditation developed out of that, which is sewing by hand. That can be a pain in the butt, for anyone who had tried that. But, sewing in general, also with a sewing machine, of course, you cannot be in a rush when you do sewing. So that's why I call it sewing meditation, because you actually learn mindfulness when you're doing it. Very important. So I started to sew like fleece sweaters that come over the hips, fleece pants, all of these things that you can also wear underneath other garments. So I'm really massively into bubble jackets now. I didn't make that myself. That'd be too much trouble to make that. So for that, you probably have to have a sewing machine. So, but I got this one at Wally's. Nice, 24.99 or something. Really good price. So really nice. This looks like it's kind of weird. This color looks weird. It looks like it got stained or something, but it's not. That's actually the color, and it is 100% polyester, and I love this. There are no animal ingredients in it. It's really, really good. So I have to protect my health. We have to protect our health. I have seen a guy down the street here. He had chronic bladder problems that must have been so painful and so awful. Okay. He had to go to the emergency service, hospital, seeing doctors. I mean, taking antibiotics, getting resistant against it. And all he was wearing, always, whenever I saw him, he only had a jeans on, and probably, I don't know, probably a boxer brief underneath, but probably the one that's not even warm. Like my husband wears those that are made out of a rigid material, more like a bed sheet type of material, and that's very flimsy, very thin, doesn't even keep you warm at all. While the jersey one is much thicker, so it's much better, and it has legs, comes up to the middle of the thigh, and that's very important. It's important for me. I also wear long thermal underwear often, depending on the temperature. But even in the summertime where we live, it doesn't get very warm. So, and we need to pay attention to all of those things. We need to listen to our own bodies. And I'm straying off the subject. I wanted to talk about people worshiping others. So I always get off the subject because there's so many other subjects that are connected into it. So I can go into any subject all the way around that entire ball of subject knitted together. So I can go into any subject and go into depths and explain how all of this is tying in. What ties in the most is the fact that we need to listen to our body's needs. So we need to know, okay, what am I feeling right now? Am I feeling a discomfort? Am I cold? Are my legs cold? My feet cold? When your feet are cold and you notice it, this is red flag. You need to immediately act on it. You need to put a sweatpants on and maybe another winter pants on top of that. You should put thick socks on and big boots like these here. I have to do this, otherwise I would not be able to handle it at all. So yeah, we don't live in a heated house. Our house is only sporadically heated. Sometimes I turn the heater on, like a one of those turbine heaters I have in the bathroom when I get really chilled there, because when I wash my face and brush my teeth, I can't have long sleeves because the water would. I hate that. When I get cold water or any water running down into the sleeve. So that's why I also was thinking about making myself bubble sweaters, if I can find a material like this where I can make bubble sweaters that only come to here, to the elbow, and that don't have a zipper, that have a turtleneck, and that are kind of elastic, and that I just pull over myself and come over the hips also. And then I can do things like, household chores and dealing with water without, if that runs down, it doesn't go into the jacket. You know what I mean? So that kind of stuff, particularly for someone like me with OCD issues. I have certain OCD issues. I don't like particles on me or of anything. So, and I wash my hands a lot. And for that, I also have a wash table outside and I wash my hands with clay because that's much better for the skin and better for the environment. So outside you can use clay to, it doesn't clog up a pipe outside, so it just runs into the garden. And that's why we also need to have, in the future, we need to have complete green living without plumbing, where you just have, where everything is on a meadow, but of course sheltered by a tunnel or by a greenhouse tunnel or something. So that's the future of existence anyway. The future of Earth, living on Earth, is living completely in tune with this planet and not using anything artificial anymore, and everything just that's completely natural and that stays and gets just taken back into the earth, and is clean. So there's nothing dirty when we live completely clean and green. Very important, because whatever biomatter or waste products there are, they get recycled by earthworms into pure, fresh, wonderful smelling earth. and everything gets renewed and plants grow from that, and we need to put all the nutrients in the compost and everywhere in the waste products. We need to put in the dung, we need to put the nutrients back into the earth. That's what humans don't do. They don't seem to understand that very much, that this is absolutely necessary to put that back. We can't have sewage facilities. Sewage facilities, this comes out of a complete lack of understanding how the natural biological life cycle works. So, but becoming aware of your own physical needs, that definitely ties into this subject of people worshiping. When people are worshiping someone else, they immediately are not in tune anymore with their own physical needs. I see this all over the place. I see this on Facebook with a lot of guys, and they kind of almost forget about themselves. They don't even understand that they need to make something out of their lives. I get all kinds of requests, on from men on Facebook. Some of them are complimentary, and some of them are a little bit irritating, and some of them are extremely infuriating. So, yeah, all of these things, and it is always, the complimentary ones. I always tell them, if it's just a compliment, I like giving compliments to people. I like to make people feel good. But when it becomes like a worshiping, or when it becomes like the worshiping is really the worst, they're not worshiping, but it's like when it is an incessant type of wanting one person, so, and this is ties in with the celebrity type of worshiping, but the celebrity worshiping, that takes it in another notch further into insanity. But still, men wanting or being like fixated on one particular woman. And she said 1,000 times, I'm married, I'm not on the dating scene, I'm not looking for anyone. And they continue to come back with different accounts, hoping that this time with the different photo of some Buran Kachan photo, famous Turkish singer, actor, or whatever. This time, maybe they will become lucky. No, no, I'm not gonna date Buran Kachan either. I like his music, or Kashan. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kasan. I don't know. Kasan. So, nice music, but I don't listen to it anymore because now I know a little bit more about that culture. And I cannot support a culture that does not respect dogs, that does not bring dogs into the house. I cannot respect a culture like this. I cannot respect a person who has a dog outside, whoever that is, whether that is a person from the Middle East or from a rural community in the United States or anywhere, it doesn't matter, Someone who keeps a dog outside is not going to be my friend, okay? That's just a simple, straightforward fact here, So very important to understand that dogs are equally sentient to children and adult humans. So 100% feeling and alive and with emotions just exactly like humans. Okay. So, and that's also why this friendship evolved 50,000 or 100,000 or even further back into history of human evolution, of human and canine evolution, that merged and we merged together. And it happened many times independently also, where there were a woman found wolf puppies, and there would be no way she could, the mother instinct is love, that's compassion, father instinct too. And for particularly a woman, or particularly a lactating woman, and they were always pregnant, they did, that was pre-birth control, so they have enormous amount of oxytocin in their bodies, and they feel, and that's love, and love does not create a boundary. Love does not say, oh, you are from a different species, oh, I don't recognize you as, you know and that's what a lot of people do. They do this out of being brainwashed. They're natural. If you take the brainwashing away, then they're the natural person. They see that other living being, like, oh, you look a bit different to me. You have a much longer muzzle. Yes, I do. I have a long slobbery muzzle, and I want to kiss you. Okay, right on. And then they become inseparable. You take the brainwashing away, and all of that nonsense, that religious, neurotic nonsense, and the person is natural and just follows the natural flow of love, and there is no separation between the species. Okay, when it comes to compassion. Okay, why would why could anyone say, oh, I'm gonna, I'm only allowed to have the child in the house, or give the child some food or something, maybe someone else's child, but not the dog. Okay, the dog is just as much a child, is just as much in need of food and water and shelter and protection, and a loving home, and a new adoptive mother, just as much. Okay, that's why I say to all these women, there's a lot of women that can't get pregnant, and that has to do with pollution, massive pollution. The very women that are in denial of the pollution are the ones that suffer from it the most, because they also live the most unhealthy, and in the most stress, and in the most inner contradiction, because of the religiousness and the brainwashing and the denial. And then they want a child, they wonder why they can't get one, why, that their bodies aren't well enough to conceive. So, and then they get feverishly into it, and into, then they want to force their bodies, and this is completely wrong. And I tell these women, it's only your ego. That's all it is. And they get very, very violently angry when I talk about this, because the ego feels threatened by what I say. The religiousness is the ego. So the ego latches on to, the ego is, the religion is food for the ego. So it's like it accumulates itself with the religion. It's a thing to dock onto, to, it's kind of like it's like a hideaway. That's what it is. And it's massive denial. They even deny their own beingness. It's very sad. So I tell them, you need to meditate, you need to get off that religiousness. I, it's very hard for most of them, but I have to say it anyway. It feels like death to them. It's like the death of the ego, because what are they without the religion? Then they're just a raw nerve. that they started out was when they were seeking the religion, or when they were brainwashed as a child, and they think that's the only thing that gives them protection, but it does the opposite. It puts them at danger. Okay, all of this ties in with it. So I tell them, there are millions and millions of dogs waiting to be adopted. And if no one adopts them, they're going to be euthanized. It's still better than being tormented in the wrong household. But if you have love, and if you can do meditation, and if you can understand that other being, the dog, the beingness of that beautiful dog, that abundance of love and childlike innocence, that they have. If you can appreciate this, if you can feel that mother love, then you can give that being a good life, and you can both be happy. So if you can get to that level of mental growth and of mental freedom, it's all very difficult to get that into the right wording and right words. Very difficult to find the right words for it. If you can find this inner space, as Jiddu Krishnamurti says, when we are occupied with religion and ego attachment or worshipping of celebrities, there's no inner space at all. And how are these people then able to see or love another living being? Any living being, including your own biological children. How can you be really there for them if you're occupied with your own neurotic, incessant, whatever it is, whatever these incessant needs are, or the religious approval of ministers, or this or that or that, it's approval. So, but the men who are loving is not the right word, who are desiring, a woman on the internet, and they fixate themselves on it, that's also extremely neurotic. That's not healthy. Okay. So what I suggest to them to do is go into meditation, and you let go of that other person, of that other soul. Let go. You have to let go. And if you let go, then everything will find its way. The puzzle pieces will find their way. Not necessarily getting me, because I already told them I am married. I found my life partner. Okay. So, and we're trying to make it work in life. We're trying to make the very best out of it. Every day, trying to we fight a lot, but have a lot of quarreling going on. A lot of dissonance, a lot of disagreement on things. But, as I am working on myself, the relationship has already become much better. The friendship. So just me working. It's about me making it work. So if the other person is still then totally not compliant with anything, yeah, then one has to move on, or, get out of that situation, because then it's just treadmilling. But I feel like when I make progress, then I can help him make progress as well. So there has to be one person who is willing to make these steps forward in the right direction. So, and it took me many, many, many years, to become more tolerant and more accepting and more unconditionally loving and supportive. So many, many, many years. It was much more difficult in the past. I had screaming fits. I like it was on a daily basis. I'm amazed that he even stuck with me through all of this. So, and that I appreciate. That doesn't go unnoticed. That the mind, even though I left him 4 times because it was very difficult. Has a lot of issues and everything. But I came back, because it does stick to the back of my head, my consciousness. So my consciousness knows. I see the difference. I see that he's quite evolved. He's a light worker soul. Okay. So that's quite evolved. Like a sort of like a midterm, the midterm exam. Of soul development, and very important. I want to support that. I want to help him grow further and heal. Growing and healing and learning, it's all one movement. So I tell these men on Facebook, you need to meditate, and you need to let go, and you need to stop struggling. And when someone says no, it means no. Those from the culture, from the Middle Eastern cultures, they're not used to this. One guy said, "That's very unconventional what you're saying." I said, "Yes, I'm very unconventional. Even in the Western world, I am regarded as unconventional." Okay. Even in native Germans, among the native Germans, I'm regarded as unconventional, or maybe even as extreme or radical. Something. That's the radicalness that I want to see other people become, and so that we can move forward and make the world better. It takes some radicalness. It takes some courage to question things. Okay. People think it's radical to question things, but it's extremely important to question society around you, even your ancestors. That doesn't mean you don't respect them. Yeah, we respect all of our ancestors all the way back to the tree climbing lemurs, to the squirrel type, the rat type of beings, the amphibians, all the way to the first fluke, all the way to the first amino acid. I respect that, all the way to the stardust that we are made out of, to all the raw ingredients, the minerals and amino acids. Okay, so we respect that. Okay, but it doesn't mean that my ancestors, we can clearly, it becomes more apparent, right, when you go further down the lineage. And they were 3 feet tall, and they weren't even walking on 2 legs. Okay, and the feet looked just like this, and they were climbing trees. Yeah, obviously, that was before religious neurosis. So obviously they lived quite differently then, and they were thinking differently also. I don't know when neurosis began, but neurosis gradually evolved with territorialism. And the more the brain evolved, the more complex and convoluted and neurotic and twisted, and with more niches and more this more abstractions, this territorialism became. And what is territorialism? That's ego. That's me, mine, and me separate from you. That's dualistic. It's neurotic. the evolved human, the very evolved human, there are very few of those. The very evolved human, like Elon Musk, for example, and Bamjan in India, they are beyond the self. They are beyond the me and the hoarding and the accumulation and the exploitation and enslavement. They're beyond that. They would never do something like this. They live to give. And every breath they take and every movement they make is to give to others. Okay. I am not there yet. I'm an indigo. I still have to please my senses. I still have to do things for myself. And it's good. It's important. Just always keep in mind, let's do things for ourselves that does not involve some kind of domino chain of exploitation. You know, you have to make sure the stuff that you hold in your hand doesn't come to your doorstep in an Amazon package with an evolution of pain. You know, like for example, a fur coat. That's an evolution of extreme pain that this fur coat has come from. It came from the skin of a sentient being. Okay. And you don't even want to know how they removed that skin from that animal. You don't even want to. You'll be terrified for the rest of your life if you see that. I saw this just a few seconds, and I was like, ooh, I had to turn this. I couldn't find the button, so I turned the computer off. You know, so the whole computer. That's when I get into a panic. I just press the panic button, turn the entire computer off because it is so unimaginably horrific. A living being like you, with feelings, with skin cells, with nerves, with the central nervous system. Once we go into meditation and we really see this, we open our eyes to that, then there is no more veil, package, or armor between you and that truth, that reality, that harsh reality. You will see it for what it is. You will, when you go into meditation, you quiet your mind, you see that other living being as being just like you. You see the truth. And then you understand that you cannot buy something that has hurt, that process of that product has hurt another living being. You cannot do it anymore. Okay. There's no way. Same goes also for the wool industry. What they do to the sheep is unthinkable. It's unthinkable what they do. The cruelty that goes into, read it for yourselves. They castrate them without anesthesia. They cram them together. It's brutal. The shearing process is all brutal. There's no love in it. There's no gentleness. They suffer. They scream. They also get transported in the most gruesome ways possible. Read it, learn about it, understand it, and boycott it. Say no to it. No more. I am no longer supporting the chain of horror. Okay. Very important. All of this ties in, it ties into becoming whole. You want to become whole, and then you are able to love. Then you really can love. Then you can really love me too, or any woman that from the guys out there on Facebook that are so fixated on one person. you can then see that other living being. You can see me, the animal Nicola. Then you don't have to kill me anymore or retaliate. There are people that want to kill me for many different reasons. Main reason is because I rock the boat of the ego. But I have to. The truth has to be said because truth is love. We want love, not ignorance, not coldness anymore in the world. Okay? Very important. So if you go into meditation, you'll be amazed what you will achieve, not just in terms of getting better relationships or having better contact to any other living being, animal, human, male, female, just a better relationship, work relationship, friendship, better communication, romantic love. That is what the ego wants right now. The proliferation sense seems to be extremely strong. So that's the ego attaches itself to that also, and then it's about this wanting. I want it now, and no matter what that other person wants, I want her or whatever. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. You go into meditation, you'll find out what that other living being actually needs and wants and feels, the history and their pain, their suffering from their childhood, from their life, their fears, their paranoia, their OCD, their mental illness, and all that entire picture. Okay. We all got here to this state of development in evolution. We all got here together like this. And every one of us is suffering. Every one of us is lonely and has fear and terror of the future and all of this. Very few people talk about it. That's the infinity sign. That is the blue god. That is the 8 on the side. Okay. And that's truth and that's flow. That's infinite flow and becoming. So don't make yourself suffer, don't stagnate, don't attach yourself to some kind of woman or celebrity or this paparazzi craziness. The other day I was watching we always take turns going shopping. One always stays with the papa dog in the van. So when I'm sitting in the van with the papa and I'm waiting for Paul, taking his time shopping like an hour or two, listening to classical music, listening to the Requiem right now in the van over and over again. And I'm watching homeless people bumming money from people on the parking lot. One tried to bum money from me as I came out of the store, and I was like, oh, no, 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 not at all. Because he asked me, can I ask you something? It's like, oh, no. I was like, I wanted to go down the smooth ramp, but I had to oh, I can't go past that guy. I have to go down the steep curb with that shopping cart, ta-da! I was like, oh no, and he was holding a cigarette, a glowing rod in his hand, and I was like, oh no, I gotta get away as fast as possible, because I have OCD, and to explain that to him, that would mean I would have to inhale his smoke, and I can't do that. So all I could do is, oh no, and I gotta run. And I also felt bad about this. I felt like now he feels more rejected, more rejection. And what I really want to say to him, and I said that out loud in the van, further, like 100 feet away from him. He didn't know I was really talking to him, like in my van. But what I was saying to him in the van was, you need to begin to respect yourself. And then I was wishing that someone else would come and talk to him. And then just 2, 3 minutes later, someone came and talked to him, and they stayed and talked, and they walked off together, two guys. So they seemed to be like in their 30s. And one was the bicycle, and the other was this glowing rod, the bummer. Yeah. And what he's doing is he's really reenacting his childhood of not having been loved, and it's absolutely tragic. Okay. And it's horrific, and most people are not capable of questioning that and saying, oh, this doesn't have to be my fate. I don't have to live like this. Yeah. I don't have to take drugs. I don't have to take alcohol into my body. I can be clear and sober, and I can meditate, and it doesn't matter where I am. I can gradually build my life up, and you can. But the very first step is to quit the substances that you use as a hideaway. They don't work. Okay, the substances, they do not work at all. They just make things a whole lot more worse. A whole lot. The substances, whatever drug, whatever bad substance, alcohol, nicotine, drugs, whatever it is, even pharma drugs, even, or painkillers, of course. All of this makes the brain so that you can't even figure it out at all. How to. Don't even know how to question it at all. So the very first step is that you need to be strong enough to quit this, and you need to respect your body and your mind and not bum other people. So I noticed that it's the same as a man bumming sex from a woman on Facebook. It's also the same type of energetic drive as a paparazzi going up to Britney Spears. So with the never-ending big fat dildo microphone sticking out the front of the Jeep. So it's the same. It's the same Krage in Sanskrit, Krage in German. It's kriegen, 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 wanting. Kriegen also means war, going into war. War is the same thing. It's like I want, and I want to get for myself and take away from someone. That's war. Mocking, that's another thing I wanted to say in this video. Mocking people, mocking people. That's really that's the complete foundation for war. If you mock someone, you create war in the world. Watch your language. Really become aware of your language. Don't mock anyone anymore. Whether it's a rival, or someone who you think hurt you, or someone who may have unknowingly made you feel humiliated. Let go of these other people. Let go. Don't go into any kind of defense or offense or struggle or hide away. Be there fully attentively with how it feels, and let go of that other person. The person could be right next to you or whatever, wherever. It doesn't matter. Let go energetically of that other person, not in form of retaliation. That retaliation is the same thing, or walking away angrily. That's retaliation. That's still the retaliation mindset. You can sit there and you go into your own mind and you let go of that other person, that other beingness. Whatever his story is or her story, it's not your problem. If they reject you, it's not your problem. Let that other person go energetically. Okay? You wish her the best, you wish him the best. You let go. Go into your own mind. Okay? Very, very important. My gosh. That's like, if we can do this, if we can get to that step, we can heal the whole world. Everything can be healed. The corporations won't like that. They'll try to slander that movement, or if there's a movement like that. So few people understand this now, cognitively at least. So only a handful of people understand this, what I'm talking about. But if you understand this, what I'm saying, and I really try to cut to the core with this in this video, I really try to make this as understandable as possible for everyone, including those people that are new to Buddhism or to meditation. And this is not about the Buddhist religion, okay? It's not about religiousness. It's not, Buddhism just happened to use some of these practices because that's what the Buddha taught. The Buddha didn't want a religion to be made out of it. It's just a practice like yoga. There's no religion that should be attached to it. People attached religion to it again, out of neurosis. In reality, in truth, it's just, those are just techniques, to quiet the mind and to understand that the other person is not there for me, doesn't live there to cater to me in any way. It doesn't live there. Is the other person is not a fruit that I pick up from a tree and eat. The other, and by person I mean animal or human, a sentient being with a central nervous system, is not there for us to exploit, hurt, or slaughter, or take stuff from them. Okay? They live for their own reasons, just as you live for your own reasons. So let go of that other, the woman that you want sex from, the animal that you want to exploit for whatever thing, meat industry, fur industry, whatever. Yeah. Understand that is a being just like you. So leave her alone, leave him alone. Wish happiness for the pig, the horse, the cow, the dog, the cat, the alligator, the crocodile, all beings. Okay? Wish happiness for him. Bring him back to his natural habitat. Don't put a bird in a cage. When you go into meditation, you understand that. I hope that made sense. I hope this makes a lot of sense. So let go of the celebrity that you want to interview. Unless it's a mutual agreement, and like a Charlie Rose, two people that are having a conversation in a mutual, loving, friendly environment. Not running after stalking some celebrity like Britney Spears or Scarlett Johansson or Marilyn Monroe. It's no longer here, but that's what happened to her too. So don't do it anymore, okay? Don't go into Brad Pitt's bed. This was a woman who did that. I mean, jeez. It's like, someone who goes into Brad Pitt's house and and lies down in his bed. That's a complete invasion of that other person's space. That's total, utter disrespect. I mean, this is not the worst of all the scenarios in the world. There are Terrible scenarios in the world. I don't even want to get into it. Women are usually not on that scale of violence. So this woman just went into his bed. But then the humiliation, you invaded someone's space and you make yourself even more humiliated. You enforce that what happened already during childhood. I know it's hard, and I know you've been through a lot. My message to that woman who went into Brad Pitt's bed. I already know your mother could not give you the love that you needed and deserved. It's the case with almost all of us. But we have to question later on. We have to question stuff. We have to question our own motives, our own minds. You don't get anywhere by worshiping someone. You just don't get anywhere. Let go of that other being, of that other person. Let go of the worshiping. Let go of the religion. Let go of the need, this wanting, this craving. That's also in that word krage, craving, kriegen, like going to war. Cravings like war. So these words are all related. So let go of all of this. Go into meditation every day, and your life will automatically become better and better and better. If you do this every day, if you practice that every day, let go of others. Okay? If you want to give, that's a different energy. But watch yourself very carefully. You give, I had a friend, she met this guy, rich guy, he gave her a bunch of jewelry. It's not giving. That's not giving. Okay? He wanted sex in return. Okay? He wanted to have a living being like this Play-Doh. I have the Play-Doh. The Play-Doh is not a sentient being. Okay, it's moldable. It's a material. Okay, you also want to be good to materials too, but it's not a sentient being. A plant is already not a sentient being. It's very limited. It has some sentient. It's like some very rudimentary sentient. You have to be good to plants too. You can't be using pesticides or poisons ever. Okay, so but a plant is there to give the sentient beings its fruits. It wants to do this also. It evolved that way because the animals eat the fruit with the seeds, of course, in the past, and then they poop out the seeds, and that gives the seed enough warmth going through the colon and enough moisture to initiate the germination process. And when that's pooped out, it is ready to open up its shell, and a plant comes out of it. That's the green life cycle. Here these people come with their troll arguments. You eat a plant, you're hurting a plant. No, the plant wants to be eaten. Most plants want to be eaten. Food plants want to be eaten. Some plants don't. Then they have thorns, or, if the animals are eating too many of their fruits, then, it's just cause and effect. And the ones that happen to have thorns survived, and they proliferate their genes. You can reverse that. People have already reversed. There's one type of blackberry that doesn't have thorns. Now, with gene manipulation, we can do all kinds of things. But, in the wild, in evolution, things are happening because of cause and effect, not because some kind of man with a white beard. There's a lot of men with white beards that are now growing plants. But you know what I mean in terms of what people believe in, the what people interpret into existence, as in the Christian God or some other deity. Okay, there is no human type of deity. Okay, this is completely different. Everything completely different. These are all human neurotic ideas. All these religious things. We need to question these. You question your ancestors in that way, not in a disrespectful way. You understand where they're coming from. They didn't know better. They had to. They didn't know. They were afraid. They interpreted all kinds of things into weather patterns. So the sun was probably the first thing that they started to worship and be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just the sun. Okay? It's a glowing ball of magma, highly radioactive energy. And that too will eventually cool down. But that will take trillions and trillions of years. Okay, so it's gonna go for another many, 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 many trillions of years. So, okay, and therefore to use its warmth and energy, okay, for clean energy. Fantastic. We wouldn't be here without the sun. The sun is our life giver. Okay. So let's put all of these things into their perspectives, into the rational perspective where it belongs to. Okay? And let's make the world a better place together and go into meditation and begin to love your own bodies and minds. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.